It's VE Day today. VE Day at 80. A day we must never take for granted. Marking 80 years since victory in Europe, V for victory. A marking, therefore, thus the end of the Second World War. It's a special live stream, a live stream never to be taken for granted. But hello to each and every one of you all the same. We respect certainly our last surviving World War II veterans, certainly from that of D-Day, Dunkirk, and all the raids, all the dangerous, awful, brutal, or even gruesome fighting raids during World War II, and certainly World War I, even though sadly we lost all the World War I veterans. But this is a day to never take for granted and reflect and appreciate the sacrifices all our World War II veterans did, fighting for the sake of fighting for our hard-fought freedoms that we have and appreciate and so experience them today. So we salute our veterans, particularly those from World War II. Blacksmith, hello to you. Blacksmith, I sent you a message just to let you know. I've sent you a message, and good to see you in the chat. And we are expecting an army veteran in here, which is going to be Sapper, but he's running a little bit late, but he's got the green room link and everything for the live. Just to let you know. I did send you a message, Blacksmith, just to let you know, and but don't worry if you haven't received it as of yet. Harriet, thank you. Hello to you. Thank you. Salute our veterans, indeed. Nice to see you, Jody. Nice to see you. Thank you for saying I'm looking dapper. It's to a fine representation and for VE Day. You know, victory in Europe, marking, the ending of the fighting of Europe in World War II, and thus, therefore, ending the Second World War. I'm all right, thank you, Herman. Reflective and showing paying my respects towards our last surviving World War II veterans for all that they did when serving and fighting for our freedom during World War II, Herman. Hard-fought freedoms we must never take for granted. Anton Marie, hello to you. Hello to you always. And we've got a new member, yeah, hello to you. Nearly sounds like a troll username, but nice to see you. Nice to see you as usual. You have seen it, you are ready. Okay. Okay, do jump in the green room whenever you're ready, Blacksmith, because Blacksmith's late father was in national service. And I'm expecting two guests, Blacksmith and Sapper. Just to let you know, even though Sapper's running a little late, but it's no trouble. But they're going to be talking about what it means to them, World War II, the signing of VE Day and the anniversary of VE Day, and its importance as to why we must never take this day for granted. But no trouble if you two are running late, Blacksmith, certainly no trouble at all. And I've sent you a private message of the green room link, just to let you know, Blacksmith. Hello to you, Hailey. Hello to you always. Ta-da, Maureen, and respect to our veterans. Respect to our veterans. Oh, and who have we got in the green room? Let's see. Good evening to you, good sir. Your sound's off. Can't hear you, Blacksmith. Your sound's off.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. We can hear you now.
Yeah.
It's a silent start, but we're here.
Yeah, me and modern day technology, we don't see eye to eye.
Yes, you said before, yes. So yes, just so you know, Blacksmith, we're on a set time limit for this one, because initially I was going to do about 60 odd minutes, but I didn't get enough people who wanted to partake in the live. But Sapper's running a little late, but it's no trouble. He said to start without him. But with this live stream, not only was I here to represent the importance of VE Day, because it was this day 80 years ago since Europe was liberated from from fighting during World War II. And during 1944, 1945, a lot of Europe was liberated from the enemy Nazis. And by 1945, this time 80 years ago, the Nazis made an unconditional surrendering to stop the fighting and all that was going on and the tragedies in World War II, as history so tells us. And obviously, I wanted to use this live stream for the opportunity, not only for yourself, but Sapatu or anyone who is either an army veteran or who knew relatives who fought or served during World War II. You know, I wanted to use this as the opportunity for that, you know, just to say. But, oh, and who's in here? And Sapper's in. Hello, respect to you.
Hey, how you doing,
Evening.
boys?
Nice to see you, Sapper. So, as you know, Sapper and Blacksmith, I'm using this live stream to pay tribute to the 80th anniversary of VE Day and salute our veterans and those who served in the armed forces. But you two, starting off with you, Blacksmith, because your father was in national service. Could you explain to all of us, myself, Sapper, and all in the chat, what it means to you that we're celebrating the 80th anniversary of VE Day? Do share your take and your story.
Well, so I mean, Dad was in the Navy. He was on destroyers. He was on the HMS Constance. I'm not actually sure what he did because, like most, he never really talked about what went on. I think he did do some Atlantic convoy work. That's about all I know. Plus, I think he helped escort the Norwegian royal family back to Norway at the end of the war. He was served. He was at Korea out there. That's about as much as I know that about his service in the Navy. He said he never really spoke about it. In fact, I've just funny enough got some photos out of my dad there showing where he was on the Constance with some of his shipmates at one of the guns. I think it was an anti-aircraft gun by the looks of it. And the other ones I got is basically for when he was when he went on the Royal Yacht after he left HMS Ganges, where he was training people in signals, and he went on the Royal Yacht. I got some pictures of him out in Canada with his sister, who I presume must have married a Canadian and moved out to Canada, and that's about all I know about Auntie Peggy. Really, haven't got a lot, don't really know much, but as I say, it's like everything else. If it wasn't for the likes of them, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Oh, yes, undoubtedly so. But what does VE Day, the 80th anniversary, mean to you and those, you know, who sacrificed their lives when fighting in World War II, given your father's naval history?
Yeah, well, I think it's just like, most people, it gives chance to remember what they did for us and what's a lot of them sacrificed for us. Yeah, I think the younger generation just don't realize what they went through.
No, they don't.
It's like I'm going to go back now to the First World War. One of my dad's uncles was killed in the First World War. Know nothing about it, but they named a street in Essex after him.
Wow.
Yeah, so it must have been something to do something like that. And in the local church in the village from the Second World War, his sister and my father have got a plaque in the church, which I'm hoping before I leave this to get a chance to go and see it. And that was my cousin that told me about that. I didn't know about that. He never even told me about that. And we only lived a few miles away from the village when we lived in Essex before he moved to Gloucestershire. But that's it, really. Just say you just got to be thankful for what they did.
Exactly. and also appreciate what they did. But you, Zappa, since we've got to 80th anniversary of VE Day, because you're ex-military.
I wasn't there.
No, I know you weren't around in World War II, but as an army veteran yourself, and you know, and having served in, what was it, the Gulf War you served in, was it?
I served in the Gulf War, and I served in Kosovo as well. And I did a tour of Northern Ireland too.
And what does VE Day mean to you, despite not being around
Well,
in
to be
World
honest
War
with you,
II?
it's
What does it mean to you, the 80th anniversary?
things have changed so much. I mean, when I was a kid, and we used to have like VE Day, and we used to have the Silver Jubilee, for example. You'd have street parties, and people will get involved, and everything would be, you know, and that's what it was like when I was a kid. Everything was celebrated, but it's not like that anymore. For me, VE Day marks the end of something that should never have happened. VE marks the end of something that should never have happened.
Whose echo is that?
I don't know. I think Blacksmith's got his phone on.
Yeah, so I just sorted that out. just put that on so I can see the comments.
He's trying to scupper our live stream.
No, he's not. No, but yes, go ahead. Continue with what you were saying.
But it's about recognizing the people who gave up their lives and the people who came back. You know, veterans are very overlooked now. You know, the veterans are looked at as, I don't know. It kind of pisses me off. I've got to be honest with you. Things have changed now. You know, I've never missed a Remembrance Day. Ever since I was a kid, I've never missed one. I've always been out on parade because I was a Cub Scout, you know, and the local Scout pack or Cub Scout pack would go out and they do the Remembrance Parade as well. But even since that day, I mean, I've always either attended, you know, the local embassy over here or in UK. The local staff of the, you know, in the village, you know, it makes you think. You know, when you hear the last post, for me, it conjures up visions in my head of what people went through. Now, my Uncle Jack was, and I've dug out his old military cane. If you look very carefully,
wow,
it's the Wiltshire Regiment, and it's silver tipped. And he was, I think he was a corporal at the time when they did D-Day, and he was on the D-Day landings. I think he was on Juno Beach, and a lot of the Wiltshire Regiment who he's fighting with got killed. They died, and shot down. But there was only, I think it was 84 people came back from the D-Day landings, from the Wiltshire Regiment, that is. Now, my Uncle Jack, he carried on his military service when he left. He did the same as my grandfather. But the strange thing is, I served with a guy in Germany, and he said, "Oh, my grandfather, I'm trying to do some trace on my grandfather. My grandfather was in the Wiltshire Regiment." How weird is that? Because his grandfather served with my great uncle, you know, and they both came back. And but very, very odd, very odd. But again, like my grandfather would always, he was a very proud man. So when it came to remembrance and things like that, he'd always talk about his old military days. He would always talk about it, which is a good thing, because when I look back and you've got all the people suffering with PTSD and, you know, and other things. I mean, it wasn't called PTSD. It was called battle shock back then. And people had to, you know, just get on with it, you know. There wasn't the help like we have today. There certainly wasn't anything, you know. If you go back to round the First World War, people were shot.
Oh
having
yeah.
battle shock. You know, it was quite clear they were battle shock, but it wasn't recognised back then. It wasn't
no.
recognised.
No,
But as far as the celebrations of VE Day and the celebration, well, don't forget the VJ. We got the VJ Day as well, which is the victory in Japan.
Oh
But
yes.
that was all finished. So there's so many days that are missed or not recognised now that used to be recognised, because in reality, we know of the age group that what we are in right now. We understand about VE Day, but if I was to talk to the younger kids now, they'd go, "What's that?" They wouldn't know.
No.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. My wife's father, he was out in with Montgomery, and
Okay, in Africa.
yes, Africa, and when he cut, I think he had really bad, what you call, that he drunk heavily and all that, and I think he was really
Oh.
affected, as you say, but of course they didn't realize about that back in then.
No?
She had a terrible life, the whole family did, because of how he suffered from the war.
Yeah, I get that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. War, it just goes to show that war does not come without a price to pay, giving up
War is
your
hell.
time. War is hell, exactly, and it's expensive. It doesn't come cheaply either.
Oh yeah.
It goes to show, with Blacksmith's point about his late father-in-law, the seriousness war does, not only in reality, but the mental scarring it can inflict on oneself.
Yes,
For sure.
He drunk heavily. He was a very heavy drinker, and as I say, just over the last few years, I've started to realise, by listening to yourselves and a couple of other people here on YouTube, like Trevor Colt and all that, I started to realise, about the illness,
Yeah.
and
PTSD.
how a lot of them, because let's say my wife's her younger brother and the second eldest brother, they were Marines. Bob, the youngest brother, he did about 2 tours of Northern Ireland back in the 70s. But to say, it didn't affect Bob, but Alec, the eldest brother, he was, I forget which regiment he was in. I know they're trying to think, they're the ones that march very fast.
Light infantry.
Yeah, I think he was, something like that. But and my granddad on my mum's side, he was a Royal Marine Commando in the World War.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's where they all started. That's where the Royal Marines started. Well,
yes,
that's where the Commandos started, but the Royal Marines in itself started in 1664.
yeah.
Wow. So well over 360 years now.
Yeah.
I'll be getting on for age when it gets to 400 years in 2064.
Yeah.
I mean, but let's hope for our sake, in nearly 40 years' time, it will not be forgotten, the Royal Marines. Let's hope for our sake it won't be.
They won't be forgotten. They'll make sure they're not forgotten.
I sincerely hope so, because one thing I want to ask you two is, what's your reaction to the lack of respect towards VE Day and things nowadays compared to decades ago?
I think it's shocking.
It is shocking. Absolutely.
It's disgusting in a way, because think of all the soldiers, having to be conscripted, forced enlistment as conscripts, giving up their time, potentially what could have been a good career for some, fighting on the front line and then losing their lives, many in the thousands. And yet there's a lack of appreciation to it in this day and age.
It comes down to respect, and who do you blame? I blame the generation that are going on right now, our generation, because they are not. I mean, I'm not saying this is the certain demographic below us who don't educate their kids, and the schools today, the education system today, don't teach it properly like we were done, we were taught when we were kids. I mean, we had Churchill, we had Montgomery, we had that sense of pride drummed into us when I was at school. Every
Thank
morning we used to have the national anthem played.
Yeah.
We'd have to sing the national anthem.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, we'd have a you say General Assembly. I can remember when I was the last year I was at school. We had, as a prefect, we had an assembly, and the prefects had to read every day, would read verses out of the Bible, which are not
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, don't get me started on religion, but I attended a Church of England school, but we still had Catholic people there as well. But we still had the sermon. We still had a part of the Bible read out. It's not about and everybody understood. Everybody understood about it, and they understood Easter.
Yeah.
But now it's about eggs and bloody rabbits.
Yeah. Well, I'm not actually sure. We can't quite get to we got stuck, but it seems like my wife was related to Booth, the founder of the Salvation Army. Possibly he was one of her uncles, even though he never married. But somebody did try to trace it, and they've got stuck. So we can't quite say whether or not it's true or not. But it's it's no, it does annoy me that the history, that the lies the teachers are teaching a lot of our children about our history is disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? I opened a Facebook group probably about 9 years ago now, 10 years ago actually.
Wow!
And all my old school teachers are on there as well. And we thought when we were kids, they were old, but when we're at our age now, and I've had a good conversation with my old school teachers, and they are completely fed up of the woke nature within the education system that there is right now.
The wokeness is running right.
Subjects that, I mean, I'm not going to say technology is bad, but technology can be bad if it's not used correctly. So when it comes to mathematics, and when you're doing your homework, now you've got Google, now you've got ChatGPT. How are kids learning? Seriously, how are kids learning? When I had to do research, I used to go and sit in the library and get a book out and go through an encyclopedia or something like that. But we never had computers.
No.
Never. I mean, I'm sounding like a right old granddad now, but if you wanted to do something, you got off your arse and went and did it. It doesn't get given to you.
No, I can remember before I started my apprenticeship, I got where I lived. It was right out in the wilds, on the edge of the Cotswolds, and we had the library van come round, and they got a book out there on agriculture engineering, which is that's the only way we could learn about a lot of the stuff.
Absolutely.
And in fact, it was only a few years ago. I was up in the loft and I found all my old college, books from college. By God, I didn't realise I was that neat a writer.
Well, they were written on parchment.
Not far wrong. Venom, I think, in my state, my age. But no, it's
right mess.
Things have changed. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm all for technology. I'm all for advancement. Okay, but moving back to what we're going back to for VE Day, certain things in the world are being overlooked now and forgotten. In 25 for another 50 years, VE Day won't even be recognised.
No.
Oh God, and that's
unfortunately.
That's
I know.
Well, you got what's it? You got these idiots up in this. What's it? Green idiot up in Scotland. Her name's Jeffrey. So she wants the Red Arrows banned.
Oh, well, what the hell?
Yeah, because she thinks it can traumatise the kids.
No, it could not.
About war. The Red Arrows are not. They're a display team.
It's entertainment. Absolutely. I flew with the Red Arrows.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
And that is actually a true story.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that story later.
Yeah.
Well, where I used to live, it's only about 7 miles up the road from where I am now, but there was Filton Airport. The Red Arrows were based there few years. And I used to go over the field with the dog and the cat, and watch them, because there's only 2 minutes walk, and I was out in the big 40 acre. I think it was called 40 acre fields or something, but it was massive until they start building houses on it. But,
I think the Red Arrows was the first aeronautical bit or aerobatic display team, wasn't it?
I think they were. I thought, that's talking about my dad. I think one thing it was that he did say when he went up in a chipmunk. No,
I love chipmunks. I was in the air training corps for a bit, and I went up in a chipmunk.
Yeah, was it chipmunk or the sawfish? The torpedo.
Yeah,
planes they had in World War II.
That's right.
Yeah, one of them. He said it just shook him to bits or something.
But you know what? Graham used to fly chipmunks.
Oh,
That's
wow.
right. Yes, I think I can remember hearing that when.
I didn't hear him talking about that, but I do remember hearing about his army days, as he has spoken openly about them, hasn't he?
Yeah,
he was such
he didn't fly chipmunks in the military, but I think he was talking about when he was in the, I think it was air training corps or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I did love listening to Graham. I did love chuckle with some of the things that Fiona gets up to on that boat, especially about the one she did today about the trying to fit a lock on a sliding door. That was spent all day trying to fit this lock, and it was the wrong sort of lock.
Wow. But there's something I do want to share with both of you, because one of our viewers, my mod Harriet's made a point here. She said, trust me, young children today have no idea what these brave men sacrificed. Very sad. Harriet,
quite right.
No,
you've quoted that only too greatly right. It's
quite right, Harriet. But again, it comes down to kids not being told and educated.
And Elizabeth McCormack, the war was such a waste of Europe's best men. I mean, it's 60 bloody hell. I mean, yes, too right.
Yeah.
And yet it's going to be potentially forgotten in the future years, and none of this will be remembered. Just how bloody terrible.
Like me granddad, he'd disappear off out with his catapult and come back with a rabbit for dinner. You wouldn't see, that being done today. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, my grandmother, up into her dying day, she would always make spotted dick, or she would always make, bread and butter pudding. And it was all wartime recipes. That's what she would use. And she'd always butter the loaf of bread and then cut it off.
Yeah, we kept their own chickens.
That's right.
I think my granddad was a coalman up in London, and then he went. He was on a big country estate. He was a ploughman and part-time gamekeeper. But then the owners died, and the place was sold off for death duties. I think it's a big golf course now down in Essex. But they were country people in a sense. My nan was. She was she was country born and bred, same as my mum and my dad. But they're saying that kids today, what's the saying? Years ago, parents had a job to keep us in the house.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were out all the time. Nowadays, you can't get the little devils out of the house.
No, absolutely not. And now there are parents these days, it shocks me to bits. Once they reach a certain age, their parents won't even let them go out to their nearby park now. I mean, what the hell?
Do you know what? When I was a kid, there's like I said, I've got this Facebook group, and I'm still in contact with a lot of old school friends. And there was a guy called Jason Vincent, and we used to go off playing. We'd go out at 8 o'clock in the morning. We never used to come back until 6 at night. That's full time. And parents didn't give a toss. They would just say, "Right, okay, go and play," and that was it. And we ended up going. Yeah, I mean, this is in the 70s. When you have to bear in mind, that's only 25 years after World War II finished, which is a relatively short amount of time when you look at things in the grand scheme of things. So people will still have that war, end of war and even the rationing and things like that was still, part of people's lives back in that day. But the point I'm getting to is we used to go off and play. We never had phones. We never had anything like that. Everybody in the village knew who we were, And then you get home and your mum or your dad will come back and say, "I've been talking to the butcher today. What have you been up to?"
I can remember the wife would say because she got a twin sister. Mum was doing some jam sandwiches and they disappear off with a jam jar on a bit of string and go down to catching sticklebats and things.
Yeah, frog
like
spawn.
Yeah, but seems like my wife and her sister were two little monkeys, because there's quite a few times they'd leave the gates open for the farmer's cattle to get out.
Yeah. That's like Jim Dandy used to say. We used to play war as kids. I'm going to be a goodie. You're going to be the baddie.
I can remember playing cowboys and Indians, and that's it.
Yeah, things have changed, but if I was to say to my son, did we ever play war? No.
But if I may ask both of you, how does it make you feel now that parents forbid children from going to their nearest parks on their own now? How does it make you two feel now?
It's wrong. It's disgusting.
Yeah,
because our country has let us down. Well, not our country, our government has let us down.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, completely.
But
I'll tell you both something. It may shock you both. I was never allowed to go out on my own, even to my nearest play park, until I was 13 years of age. Can you believe that?
Yes, I couldn't let you out on your own either.
No, definitely not. No, I have.
Is this because of how dangerous things have gotten, if you're asking me?
No, but it says like one of my uncles, married me mother's sister. They lived in a little village in Essex called Danbury, and his father was the local steeple. He was a steeplejack. But as you say, they used to go out and dam the streams.
Yeah,
things like that. Kids don't do nothing. Well, a few might, but they don't go out and do
burn
things
down
like
a field.
Yeah, I used to get disappear off fishing all day.
Yeah, I can remember going out into the woods and we used to start a fire. We used to steal matches, or we get a magnifying glass and we'll burn something, And then we got half the riverbank on fire. But as part of growing up, I know we got a good kicking for it or a good beating for it, but it's part of growing up, isn't it? I can remember going home stinking of smoke, having been near a fire that we'd made. And my mother would beat the crap out of me, saying, "Why are your clothes smelling of smoke?" Because back in the day, you'd have a pair of plaid trousers, and those trousers would last a week before they get washed.
Yeah. Washing always used to be done on a Monday in our house.
In a twin tub.
Well, the bucket and a sink where my nan was concerned, and they had the big old mangle outside the back door.
Yeah, no board.
There was a big in the kitchen. Well, if you call it a kitchen, there was a big, like a copper.
Yeah.
And used to light the fire underneath it to heat the water to wash the clothes.
See, Jim Dandy's got it. Jim Dandy should come up on here as well, because we used to go egg stealing as well. We used to go out to the bird's nest and nick all the eggs, or we go out to the local farmer, right? And we'd grab an old fertilizer bag and we'd fill it full of potatoes, take it home for your mum.
Wow.
Because say my dad left the Navy and then he went into the prison service. He was
I remember that story. We said it offline outside of YouTube, didn't we, Blacksmith? You were talking to me about it openly.
Yeah, he was at Chelmsford in Essex. The prison he went there, and then he worked his way up and became a governor. And we went to Lay Hill the prison there. And I can remember me and the lads, there was a quarry there, and the prison used to chuck all the rubbish in there. Well, the three of us went in there and we collected all the aluminium saucepans, took them to the big mate. Got quite a few bob for that down at the scrap dealer.
Absolutely.
Things like that.
I can remember going to the local pub at night. Well, not at night, in the evening, and we'd nick all the bottles and then go and cash them back in again.
Yeah, yeah. Well, funny enough, when we lived in Chelmsford, they had Brickvic.
Yeah,
not far from there, and used to climb over the wall and pinch a few of that.
We used to have Corona. Corona used to get, I think it was 1p or something like that. You get back from a bottle.
Yeah.
But one very important thing I need to share here, Dave Murphy's just shared a very serious and important quote here. His late grandfather, Danny Murphy, served in the British Royal Navy in World War II under Prince Philip's command. Your great-grandfather's brother, Robert Hamilton Murphy, died in Gallipoli in World War I. What would you two say on that?
Gallipoli was an amazing, no, I won't say an amazing, it was a big battle. Gallipoli was huge. Salerno, Casino.
Was that where a lot of Australians were killed? Or am I thinking?
Yeah. No, you're right. There was because the Australian Navy was there as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. So yeah. There's something talking about because my dad being on the yacht, I think he played hockey against Philip because he turned around and said he was a bugger. He said he used to go for the bloody ankles. But my dad, I think, was because he was chief petty officer, chief owner signals on the yacht.
Yeah.
And I have been told it is true. He'd get in the barge and go off when Philip was doing the tour.
Yeah.
In the 50s, and the paparazzi or they were thinking it was Philip going off, and then they chased me dad, and Philip would go wherever it was he was going to go. But I say I've got 3 letters in the cupboard there from the lady in waiting, but from the Queen. One when he was first diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
The second one from was wishing him up when he went in for this operation. And then the third one is when he passed away. So I got those 3, and I've also got, it's up in the loft frame, but a certificate from the Norwegians I presume that was from when he to do with escorting the royal family back to Norway.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, I was told by somebody there's a lot more to your dad than you'll ever know.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, my grandfather was. In fact, I mean, I would love to find that letter. There's a letter from Field Marshal Montgomery thanking my grandfather because my grandfather on my mother's side didn't go abroad in the war. He stayed back with the Home Guard and the Home Service.
Yes, please do share your grandfather's World War II experience, Saba, because that's one of the main reasons I was going to have you on here.
My grandfather on my mum's side, they had a big house in down in Cornwall, and it was used as well to house some GIs, American soldiers. Now, my grandfather, this is what led to my grandfather owning a bus company, because what he did is he ran the ambulance services. So my grandfather would basically run the ambulance services for the whole of Devon and Cornwall. Or no, it wasn't Devon and Cornwall. It was just Devon. Because I'm sure it's just Devon. I'll have to dig into that a little bit more details. But there was a letter from Field Marshal Montgomery thanking my grandfather for the logistical help that he gave with the ambulance service for Devon.
Wow.
But again, going back to what I was saying about the GIs, in the 1970s, there was a guy called Bill. His name was Bill Pettifer, I think he was called. Came and stayed, and I always knew him as Uncle Bill, but he was American. But it wasn't until later on, when I grew up, that my mum told me that he was a GI that stayed there, and he came back to visit my grandparents.
Because the house that I used to live in, they were built in 38, and in the war, the Americans, the officers were billeted in the houses. The houses were actually built for Rolls-Royce.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Rolls-Royce. And in the fields at the back, well, I was out in the garden one day, and there was this chap walking up the road, and I, being like I am, I just, being polite, I said hello, and it was an American, and we got chatting, and he was stationed at Filton at the end, there, and as he said, that's where he told me about the officers and all that being there, and they were in the fields over was the big tent, the tent for the soldiers, and also their the I forget what they called it, the field for where they get fed, the mess tents, and all that, so I'm assuming they must have been stationed there getting ready for when at the end.
Well, in the army used to have cookhouses. In the Navy, you get galleys, and in the RAF, you get restaurants.
Oh, we used to have fun at work, because the charge hand blacksmith Howard, he worked in the shipyards, and one of the carpenters down there always used to wind him up and say, oh, you would say, oh, the kitchen. He said, no, the galley. It's a galley.
He used to wind him up. Always wind him up.
Yeah, he'd wind him up with that something wicked. But going back to like the respect. Now Howard, he'd come to work. He'd have a shirt and a tie on.
Oh, well done him.
Yeah,
sounds like Foxy.
That was in the the 70s. He retired in 92 when in 1992. But all the years I worked with him, he always had collar and tie.
I've got a tie on.
Yeah. And some of the older carpenters, well, we had proper tradesmen, we had cabinet makers, real tinsmiths, silversmiths, coppersmiths, but they all dress similar, which we don't get nowadays.
But it was, I mean, going back in the day, there was a certain class. Because you used to have the white collar workers, you have the blue collar workers.
Oh, yeah.
But again, you get the people who wear corduroy back in the day. I mean, corduroy was a common thing back in the 1960s and 70s.
Yeah.
I wear corduroy trousers in the winter. But only casually, not on important occasions.
You should get a pair cut into a pair of shorts.
I'd be too cold in shorts, but I always wear trousers all year round.
Foxy, shut up.
I'm wearing trousers right now.
I'm teasing you.
I know. No, I know. You make a good tease. But most importantly, you were talking about your grandfather earlier on. I mean, about many things. But do share his World War II experience, if you can, Sapper.
My grandfather's he was in the Armoured Corps, and he started in the Royal Armoured Corps, and then he transferred over to the Prince of Wales 3rd Carabiniers, which later amalgamated with the Royal Scots Dragoon Guards and another regiment. Anyway, it doesn't matter; it's irrelevant. So anyway, off he went. He went to India, was his first posting, and he was at the Royal Armoured School in a place called it begins with M. I can't remember now.
Mumbai?
No. It was in Maharashtra. Ahmednagar. Okay, that's where he was, and that armoured school now is a museum. It's still there to this day, and still got military tanks there. So he was there, and he became a trainer on the new tanks and things like this. But because he was so good, they gave him the option to. So all of his squadrons went over to Malaya. To Burma. And with Burma, that Burma, lots of people lost their lives. Lots of the regiment.
Yes.
And I think there was only about, I think this is right, about 10 to 20 people came back out of a whole regiment.
Oh my word, that's very
You know,
few.
so that isn't even 10%. You know,
Yeah.
that's probably about 5% of a regiment. But back in that day, the tanks were not reliable, so they would keep breaking down. So
You can imagine. So
the problem was, you know, people were being stuck and then slaughtered. But anyway, he was telling me stories of when he went to Burma, and I'd sit on his lap and he'd tell me all these war stories, and I thought it was great. And I blame him. He was the person. Oh, Pamela Garza's in the house. Hey,
yeah.
Garza, how you doing?
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Garza. I'm Braveheart. But yes, what's next? Go ahead. What's next?
He would tell me all these stories, and you know, he's the person who created my interest into going into the military. You know,
Yes.
because I love it. I love his stories, and today I know of one. He was telling me where he saw when he was commanding his tank, the tank in front. There was a Japanese guy jumped on the back of the tank, and he sliced off the head of the tank commander in front of him. And he said apparently that gave him PTSD. I'm sure it did, because the way he told it, it was in such intricate detail. But then he'd cry. My grandfather would cry.
I could imagine.
So, yeah.
What a story.
I mean, my father used to tell Dad, stop telling him these stories. I went, no, I want to listen to the stories.
Well done, you for trying to get him to butt out of the conversation. Well done, you.
I mean, I must have been about 5 or 6 years old. I mean, my dad's telling all these gruesome stories.
And it seems like you coped with them quite well.
No. It's affected by humour.
Affected your humour. But you've got such a good thick skin as of now with humour.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love banter. Of course I do.
And but very good story. Thank you for sharing your grandfather's military service in World War II. And
Thank you.
too, since we've now had Sapper's and grandfather's stories told, Dave Murphy here is saying he inherited his grandfather and great-grandfather's brother's medals.
Yeah.
What would you say on that?
Yeah, I've got me father's. Well, I was going to, funny enough, I was going to look them out, but they're up in the loft somewhere, safe. I got them locked up.
Oh, no trouble.
Way. Yeah,
I'm going to have to claim mine, because my grandmother's wish was that all of the military stuff would come to me, because I was the only one who served out of all my cousins. But my uncle's second wife was a complete bitch. I have to use that word, because she was. And what she did is she took all of when my grandmother passed away, took all of my grandfather's military stuff, all his medals, all his trophies, and sold them on a car boot sale.
Oh dear. Yeah. Nah.
That's not good.
I got to sort the medals out. Well, one day I'll give them to the granddaughter.
Yeah.
Your granddaughter's just a wonderful girl, and Blacksmith. She's just such a wonderful girl.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, Blacksmith, she's so caring. I mean, if you gave your granddaughter your late father's medals from his naval service days, I believe she and her boyfriend will keep them. I hope she makes her boyfriend keep them. Say, don't you throw them away. Those are my late great grandfather's stuff.
She'll definitely sort him out.
I would say, for example, if I had a girl and she had relatives who fought in World War II, I would be, keep them, do not throw them away, keep them. Before she says anything, I'd say, do keep them, love, never throw them away. We must never forget the sacrifices that they did. I would say that.
For sure.
Very good.
Yeah.
Nathan said, I think PTSD was called shell shock back in the day. What would you two say on that?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was shell shock.
I say,
Yes.
you know, of course, say I never served in the army, and the wife didn't. But the only say the wife, in fact, she got. I think sure that she worked for British Aerospace. She used to help build Rapier missile systems and
Yeah, I know
all
Rapier.
that. Well, when they sunk the Sheffield in the Falklands, they said the Liverpool replaced, and while it was sailing to the
Coventry,
that's it, to the Essential Islands.
Yeah.
Or well, somewhere there, she was building the computer system for one of the missile systems on the ship.
Like,
Yeah.
She built track Rapier systems. She was brilliant. She was. Really,
Night, Joy.
clever.
Take care of yourself, my love, and look after yourself, Joy. All right.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah, because I can't see anything. Don't know how to get the things up, so I got to flick and keep looking at my phone, but it's so small I can't see it. Yeah.
Evening, Gareth. Good evening, good man.
Hey, Gareth's in the chat.
I see we got a couple behaving themselves tonight anyway. on the chat. I haven't seen anybody having to be told off tonight.
Everybody's behaving themselves. Well, everybody behaves himself. I have to behave myself in the chat.
Listen, we're thick-skinned men. The three of us are generally fairly thick-skinned men. We can take a good naughty boy, naughty girl banter.
I agree, yeah. Where I served my apprenticeship, the boss there turned around and he said, "You've got a skin of a rhinoceros," he said. Say what you want to me. I don't take offence at all. Just
You wanker.
Yeah. Just like.
But if I may ask,
Yeah.
but another thing I'd like to ask regarding VE Day, what shocks me most is the Starmer man who's been representing VE Day. The guy hardly gives a shit about what World War II went through and all that World War II. He may act like he is. He hardly gives a shit about veterans. He hardly gives a shit about veterans. What would you two say on that?
He's the only person I know that needs a long-distance lead injection.
Yeah, and I'm
Yes.
quite happy to do
He
it.
doesn't give a shit about World War II veterans, doesn't he? He doesn't give a shit about them.
No.
But there isn't many left.
No.
Oh no, and he still does not even give a shit about the last surviving ones. But one question I want to ask both of you. But what I do want to ask, how does it make you feel like since the days of Tony Blair, how do you think the politics approach to VE Day has been since Tony Blair?
Well, they don't recognise it now. They look at St George's Day. They've tried to cancel that too.
Yeah, I can.
Would
I
you
can
say?
remember, my dad, because he was he loved his music. He was in the brass bands and all that, and playing the last post.
Yeah.
The on Remembrance Sunday at the one of the local little villages, a little place called Cromwell in Gloucestershire.
Yeah.
On Remembrance Sunday. Always, I must admit, whenever I see, boys, the Marine band marching and hear it does bring a tear to my eye.
Oh yeah, I mean, the last post always makes me. It gives me. It makes the hairs on the back of my neck.
Yeah,
stand on end.
It really does.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more with Dave. I saw Prince George shaking veterans' hands for VE Day.
Yeah.
Oh, George. If anything, George is a fine example of how our children should be taking the approach to VE Day. He's a fine example. What would you say to George for shaking hands with them veterans for VE Day? Would you say he's a good example for what today's children should be learning about the sacrifices World War II veterans made?
Yes,
Would you say?
that is 3 lovely children.
Yep.
He's a fine example for how our children should be, because today's children just wouldn't have a clue and wouldn't have the care for it.
No,
Yeah.
not like bloody Bunker Harry, who never served. Well, I'm not saying nothing about him. I don't hate him. I totally detest the man.
If there's anything to say, I mean, this might get a bit rude. But Has-Been Harry is a fucking retard, if there's any way to describe him.
Well, no, it's an insult to a retard. I'm afraid.
Yes.
Never.
He's an absolute thick, bald fucking retard. Sorry, Blacksmith.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, David. Even though David and Jonathan are bald as well.
Yeah, I hold the man with total disgust. What he did to Prince Philip and our great Queen.
Yep.
Because we've had two great monarchs. Elizabeth I. There's a reason that I'm in this country, because our family were Huguenots that come over in the 1500s. So I'm well and truly I'm an immigrant, but she let us into the country because of our lace making skills and silversmithing skills. So and Queen Elizabeth II, two of the finest queens this country's ever had.
Well, you look at Princess Anne. Princess Anne is the queen that we will never have. I love Princess Anne. Love her to bits.
And her daughter Zara, I think she's like her mum.
Well, you know what? I was at a horse trials up there where my father lives, and I was standing on this bank, and with my fishes before I came to Dubai and before I met my wife, but I felt this pull on my arm and pulled me down. And who was it? It was Zara Phillips's Mike.
Wow. But listen,
Mike Tyndall's hanging on my arm. He said, "I'm so sorry." So then we got talking, and Zara came over as well and just had a chat. But we went to the beer tent, and Mike Tyndall bought me a pint.
I can remember the daughter-in-law. She was competing at badminton, and she was walking the course.
Yeah,
and there was.
Yeah, they always do.
Yeah, and anyway, there was this rider coming towards her, and something happened, and she fell off. And well, the language that the daughter said was quite what's his name anyway?
Colourful.
It was only Zara.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lovely family. Yeah.
But listen, on a more serious noting here, Dawn Marie says they say within the next 2 years we will have lost all our World War II veterans. Yeah. I really hope that's wrong. I hope we've still got World War II veterans in 5 years. But
life goes on, dude. Life goes on. You know, it's we're looking at, it's 80. Yeah. Seriously, since World War II, it's now 70 years ago, isn't it?
80 years now.
80 years, beg your pardon, 80 years.
Yeah.
When you take into account that the average the life or age of a soldier was around 18 to 20 years old.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they'd be gone by now. Yeah.
I don't think they'll be gone. All will be gone in 2 years. I think we're talking another 5-10 years at the longest.
No, God, no. No. I'll put them over 100 years old.
I mean, we have got World War II veterans who are over 100 in real life.
As opposed to what life?
But we could have some surviving World War II veterans living to be 110, sir. But this is possible.
Oh, I'm sure. But the chances of that happening is very, very low.
And why do you say that?
Because how many people live to 110 now?
Very few.
Many. Correct.
It's been like this for a long time. Very few people have. It's been for a long time. Very few living to 110. It's an exceptional age.
Yeah.
Or 105 plus is an exceptional age.
Listen, if I don't want to get to 105, I want to be gone way before that.
Thank you, Gareth. Thank you for the super thanks.
Thank you. That's nice.
And I mean, there was something Pamela said, which was quite important. When I meet a World War II veteran, I always thank them and ask for their stories. If they'd like to talk, you love hearing them. Well done, Pamela. That's the best way forward.
But you're right, Pamela. You're right. A lot of World War II veterans, in my experience, want to talk. They want to talk about it. You know? I mean, there's things that I don't want to talk about because they're horrific, but the majority of my time, yeah, I'll talk about my military service. I'm proud to have service.
And we've spoken about it before, haven't we, Sapper? Your military service. We've had talks together about it.
Oh, we've had some great times when I was in the military, especially being, you know, coming back from town and you're being pushed around in a shopping cart.
The nearest I got to military service was I joined the Air Cadets for a little while, and then the Army Cadets for a little while. But then I discovered girls. And that was my downfall.
Absolutely. Women ruin it for everybody, mate. I'm sorry, they do.
I was very lucky. I found one in a million, but she made me what I am today. Without her, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah.
She was something else.
Was she from where you are?
Yeah, she was born in a little village 5 miles outside of Cirencester.
Okay.
A little place called Polton, little village there. So her mum lived there. Her father was from one of the Scottish islands.
Right.
He was Scottish, and they met up anyway. When she lost her mum, when she was 12 years old. So she. I
remember.
She had a younger brother and a younger sister. Of course, she had a twin sister. The two eldest brothers, they had left home. But then she was taken up to Clyde Bank and up there, and terrible life up there. She absolutely hated Scotland. Absolutely. Yes. Then that's the way other twins had come back and got a job down, to Cirencester, and then the eldest brother and that, they went up there and dragged her back to Cirencester.
Well, that part of the world, a lot of during World War II, a lot of people or kids were taken from London and they were shipped out to the countryside.
Yeah.
And there's a film I think Foxy would find very interesting to watch, and it's called Good Night, Mr. Tom.
Good Night, Mr. Tom.
Yes, yeah.
Good film, John Thor.
Yeah, I've never seen the film, but I know
It's actually filmed in the same village as Vicar of Dibley.
Wow.
Oh.
And Carol, who's on here, a lot of the World War vets are late 90s, early 100s. This is true. And I think in the next 2 to 5 years, or possibly over, but I doubt 10 years, they're probably all going to be gone by the 2030s.
Yeah.
Sometime in the 2030s, I think they're sadly going to be all gone, the World War II vets, those who are surviving. This is why this day is so vitally important, because it's unlikely at VE Day 90 we're going to have any World War II veterans left. Very, very low chance.
Yeah, exactly.
And Sue is on here. Hello to Sue and Buddy. Her father was in Arnhem.
Oh.
So he was a parachutist. He was a parachute regiment. Because Arnhem was Paris, wasn't it?
Oh, wow. Would you like to talk a little bit about that? You too?
The bridge too far, was that?
Yes, it was. Yeah, that was Arnhem. Yeah.
Would you like to talk about the Arnhem, Sapper? The parachutist Arnhems. Would you like to talk about it?
To be honest with you, I don't really know the full story. I've got to be honest.
Okay, no trouble.
I've seen the story. I've seen the film, and it's also based on a true story as well.
Yeah.
Pamela's grandfather was too thin to serve in World War II, so it meant he was denied enlistment for being underweight, as it so sounds. So he worked in the military machine shop in Canada making tools. He invented an efficient machine that got him a civilian award. Well, I'm so sorry your grandfather got denied enlistment, but Sapper, what would you say, with you being ex-military, do you think it's right that people should be denied enlistment for being underweight?
Foxy, stop talking about weight.
Yeah, that's right.
No.
I've just pressed the button.
No, but
and
what
the
would you say?
comments
But what
come
would you
up.
say on that? What do you think about people being
Listen,
denied enlistment for being underweight?
it used to be turned away for having flat feet, but there's so many medical reasons why people can't serve.
Do you think being underweight, it's right to be denied enlistment if you're underweight?
Well, it depends what the circumstances are, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know the full circumstances. You know, you could start talking about anorexia. You could start talking about bulimia. You know, there's so many different reasons why somebody could have been underweight. Maybe you just needed steak and kidney pie. I don't know. It's you know, there's so many different reasons that people would be denied to serve.
Enlistment.
For sure.
I mean, did you know Dick Van Dyke? He tried to fight in World War II, but he got denied enlistment. Like Pamela's grandfather, he got denied enlistment for being underweight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So instead, he served in the radio thing in World War II because he was too skinny to fight on battle.
Yeah. Do you know what? That's something that I think you should discuss and do a presentation and do it on the Enigma code.
Talking about why one could get denied enlistment, what have you.
Mm. Yeah.
Gareth D's had an important point to share. There's a very important point from Gareth. I'm feeling old now, as I had the privilege to have conversed with many World War II veterans. What would you two say on that?
I've talked to many World War II veterans, many in my life. You know, like I said before, a lot of them are happy to discuss it and talk about it.
Hello
And they're very proud as well, very proud people.
Of their military service, yes. And it's not
Yeah.
something they take for granted because they gave up their time to fight for not only their own freedom, but all of our freedom for the world to share anything.
Well, there used to be a saying when World War II, and it was "do your bit."
Yeah.
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 Hello to Deborah, the flatterer, Deborah from Australia. Hello to you. And if I may ask, Deborah, because we're talking about VE Day and the importance of VE Day, respecting our World War II veterans, would you like to say anything regarding the importance of VE Day? Because I'm sure you've got relatives who served in World War II, haven't you, Deborah? And why I say it's Deborah the flatterer, because do you know what she said to me back in 2024?
Go on, I'm listening.
She doesn't do it now, but it was at the time when she did. She said, I need your help. I'm trying to make a doll with your shaped face. She doesn't make dolls now. She doesn't do it anymore, but she was trying to figure out how to make a doll with my shaped face.
No, it's sort of like changing the subject a little bit, but it's when you go on about veterans, it's like I can remember back in the 60s and all that. It's like we had the village policemen, and they were all ex-servicemen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Most of the
Well
police
done,
and all that, and a lot of the ones that are in the prison service, they were all ex-service. I think we had the one in a little village called Charfield. He was ex-service, and then there's another village called Wickwar, and I think he was in the Grenadier Guards.
Yeah,
he was. That was a village, Bobby. You didn't
but
mess with.
You look at the likes of the series Porridge, and you had Fulton Mackay. Fulton Mackay was a Black Watch.
Yes.
You know, very proud ex-military, but he'd never, in real life, he'd never served a day in the military in his life.
Yeah, because my dad, when he was at Leyhill, then he went to Bristol prison. Yeah. Then he went to the Scrubs, and he was at the Wormwood Scrubs when they were filming Porridge. Yeah. So he'd met all, he knew all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Dixon the Dock Green was ex-military as well, wasn't he?
I think he was.
Yeah.
And when I was at Leyhill, well, I didn't actually meet him, but they were doing an amateur dramatics. I think it was West Side Story, and Leslie Grantham, Dirty Den. He was at the end of
artillery.
Yeah, he was there. So
he was national service. Was it national service?
I don't know.
I know he he killed a taxi driver.
Yeah, he shot.
Yeah.
Murderer.
Yeah, he shot somebody, didn't he?
Absolute murderer.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. But I think there was quite a few, wasn't it, of the actors and all that they'd gone in.
Well,
and,
absolutely. I mean, you look at all the Michael Bentine and
he was he was a clever man, wasn't he, Michael Bentine?
oh god, yeah, Spike Milligan. I mean, Spike Milligan was.
Oh,
I mean, they all got together. The whole of the goons got together.
Yeah.
You had Michael Bentine, you had Spike Milligan, and you had
Harry Seacombe.
Harry Seacombe. That's the one I'm not trying to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many of them did it. So many.
And but there's an important point to share. We got Frances Leach, A Dog's Life in Liechtenstein. Her mother and her father, before her father was called up, were conscripted for essential work. They had no choice where they worked. This is what war does. That's the cost of war, the price it pays.
Yeah, I think my mother worked for Chelmsford. There was big Marconi's. I think they make. Well, I don't. They used to make. I think. Well, bearings and all that. I think that's where my mother worked in the war.
Itala says this feed shows how worthwhile it is to listen to people's stories. Thank you, Itala. Thank you for your respect on that. Thank you. And Pamela's got a very important story to share. Her father tells her the story when he was playing in the yard and the whole neighbourhood came out of their houses cheering because the war was over. Because her father lived through World War II, you see.
Yeah. I think a little story of me nan back. Well, that'd be World War One, because she was playing in the field with some, and I think a Zeppelin had been shot down, and it landed. Yeah, the bits landed, or the wreckage landed in the field where she was playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? Going back to what I spoke to Foxy about this not long ago. Was Good Night, Sweetheart. I think you should watch that. I think that was really good.
I need to give it a watch.
My memory's not like it used to be. I got a feeling I have seen that film.
Yeah, well, it's a series with Nicholas Lyndhurst. Nicholas Lyndhurst. Where he goes back in time.
Oh yeah, yes, I know it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It was a great series.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
In fact, you know what? I've just realised, because I only watched the series not long ago. Blacksmith, you look like the guy when everybody says bugger or says something bad. He goes, language, ladies present.
Yeah. Oh dear, I can say I went talking. Warfare. Me and the wife went to the Bristol Hippodrome years ago and watched Hello Hello.
Oh god, yes.
Oh my god. There was.
They wouldn't be able to air it on the television now, would they? That's the problem.
There was two married couples. They were sat in the seats just in front of us, to the right of us, and at the end of the show, the two lady, the mascara was just running down their faces. I have never ever laughed so much in my life.
But I need to ask you something about the Tom movie. What's the Tom movie called? Was it Good Night,
Mr. Tom?
Good Night, Mr. Tom. Okay, thank you, sir. Good Night, Mr. Tom.
I'll tell you what.
Got it listed up. It's all listed up. Good Night, Sweetheart. Good Night, Mr. Tom. I've got it all in a list now.
Yeah, you'll love it. Forrell's War was good too.
Yeah, especially when Helga done her little dance with the little swastikas. Oh my god!
Ooh. Oh my!
Yeah. Oh,
if it were aired now on the television, bloody
listen very carefully. I will show this only once.
Yeah.
There is a boom. And the French police officer was great because he just gets his words mixed up.
Oh yeah.
Carol says I'm a sucker for time travel stories. Oh, Carol, that's brilliant. Gareth has given us a good smile. Political correctness sucks. Good one, Gareth. Good one.
It really does, Gareth. You're quite right, mate.
Very well said, Gareth. Yes.
Of course, now I haven't got that. I haven't got the wife to keep me in check. I have to go back to a place twice. Second time to apologise because I'm terrible, man. I'm terrible. They tell me I got too much of me nan in me. I speak me mind. If you upset me,
Yeah.
they say you get both barrels. But,
Yeah.
I'm not frightened. I'm not frightened to call a spade a spade.
But you know what?
Yeah.
I can remember my Uncle Jack, he lived until, I think, maybe late 80s.
Oh, wow, so you did pretty well.
And I can always remember him. And he was a dodder and old fart. He really was. And he was in his in his 80s. He's always smoked roll-ups, licorice paper roll-ups. I can remember being at a wedding at a church, and I must have been about 22 at the time, something like that. And the bride had come through up the aisle, and all the church heard, he goes, "Oh, she looks a fucking whore in that wedding dress." Because everybody heard it.
Dave Murphy's got something to share. I have recordings of my great-great-grandmother who not only survived the Titanic, but also World War One. She died in I thought she died in 1990, Dave. I would have thought it was 1990 she died, I remember you saying, not 94, but loved listening to her story.
It doesn't matter about the date.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that would always.
I think Gareth's got a point.
Yeah.
It's sad when classic British comedy gets restricted because of snowflakes. Not just snowflakes, but bloody wokeness, if there's any way to describe it.
Well, I think,
Hey, Genuine's in the house.
Hi, Jenny. Hello to you.
Yeah, I think.
And Ellie's in. Hello to Ellie.
Yeah. Yeah, my nan was 99 when she passed away.
Oh, wow. Very good age.
Oh, yeah. Most of my family, they've all sort of like been, apart from, when cancer got, but majority of that, they've all been in their 90s.
Wow.
Lived to their 90s. Yes.
I've got a grandmother who's going to be 90 in 4 years' time, but I believe she'll be here for at least another 20 years, given how well she is.
Yeah. Me
daughter-in-law,
one of her aunties, I think she was just over 100, I think, when she passed away a couple of years ago.
Oh, impressive.
Yeah. She because I'm the only granddad left now. The other granddad died on the 20th of March. He died of cancer. So it's just Margaret's still alive. She's from farming stock on the Blackdown Hills of in Somerset. She's country, so she'll live to a good old age. Country born and bred.
You've got I take you've got very few aunts and uncles left, I'd imagine, Blacksmith.
No, they're all gone now, I'm afraid. Yeah. Funny enough,
gone.
Yeah, most of them also. It was bloody cancer that got most of our family. Got me mum, me dad, two of my aunties. Uncle Bill, he died of old age. So, but
how old was he?
Oh God, he was. Yeah, he'd be in his 90s.
Oh, so he did pretty well.
Yeah, I think he if not, he wasn't far off 90, far off. Yeah. My eldest cousin June, boom, she's got to be in her 80s now. She's
wow.
Yeah, she's got to be, yeah.
No, but who was the auntie who's still going and you believe she'll live until a right old age? Blacksmith, who's the one?
Oh, that's Margaret. That's the daughter-in-law's mother.
Daughter-in-law's mother. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
The
one that got divorced from your son.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Isn't she the lady who got struck down with MS?
Yes.
Oh, poor lady. That's sad.
She does. Some days she can't get out of bed.
Oh, that's bloody awful.
Yeah, not only MS, she's got Lyme's.
Lyme's disease.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And they won't. There is a drug that will help them, but they won't pay for it. It's too expensive.
Oh shit.
Yeah, they trialled it and it did wonders for the ones that they trialled it on, but they said no, it's too
expensive.
because that's what the granddaughter's doing now. She does looks after I think the girl's about 19. I haven't spoken to him. It's a waste of time talking to my son because he gets it all bloody wrong. So I got to chat to Ella, and I think she's got MS and something, but she's on 24
Your
hour.
granddaughter?
That's what the granddaughter's doing now. She's a
Has your
carer.
granddaughter got MS?
No, the girl that she's looking after's got MS.
Oh no.
Yeah, she's
But well done to what your granddaughter does. She's just such a brilliant girl. Such a brilliant girl.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's such a caring. She is such a caring person. She's she's like my wife and like her mum. Her mum is the same, very caring, very caring. Yeah. It's like Tracy says, she's 50. Oh, I've got to think now. 52, and all she wants to do is
one of my aunts.
Go to work. She just wants to work, and that's where Ella gets it from.
I mean, I've got an auntie who's 52. That's my mother's older sister, but you'd never believe it. You'd never believe she's 52. She's about 52 and looks about 32.
Like me. Say her in the young days when she was, riding. She's so she was. Well, that's where Ella gets it from.
Wow.
Mum was a brilliant horsewoman. In fact, she was in the middle of taking exams to actually to train people, for riding.
Wow.
I forget what it was. Yeah.
But there's an important thing to share here. Ellie just said her father fought in World War II. He lied about his age to join the army. He was only 17. Only good thing about the war was he and her mother met. He wrote to her for 5 years. Now, what would you, Sap or Blacksmith, say on that?
Yeah, that's what it did, wasn't it? Yeah, people.
It's our pen pals.
No, but what would you say about her late father signing up, lying about his age at 17 just to fight on the front line?
It was common. Sometimes you'd have kids at 13 joining.
Or 14.
Yeah, they did it in World War One, didn't they? They were so young. They did the same there, lied about their age to fight. Yeah. Yes, it's different breed.
Yeah. The patriotism's gone. Well, I won't say it's gone, but it's not as strong as it used to be.
No.
But if there's any way to describe, do you think that's very good bravery and courage to lie about your age just to fight in battle?
Well, again, it comes down to patriotism. If somebody's that passionate about their country and they're willing to put their life on the line for their country and do their bit, then you can't hold it against them.
Yes, no, you cannot hold it against a teenager, mere boys lying about their age just to fight in front line on battle.
Years ago, I would.
Lots of young men lied about their age to enlist. Yes, true. Yes, Blacksmith, sorry, what you're saying?
I would have fought for this country years ago, but now I wouldn't. I'd fight against it, against a certain person.
Sure.
Just no.
Let's not go there.
No, we won't. It just fills me with anger. What is happening?
It does me too.
Yeah,
it does me too.
Yeah, because
Dave's got something to say.
Could you imagine kids? They can't get me to fight for the country because I'm reserved occupation.
But Dave's got a point to say. Could you imagine kids of today lying to fight for their country? We are struggling to recruit here in Australia.
The kids wouldn't do it. They'd walk away and say sorry. No.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them.
No.
It's because the government's let many countries down, particularly the UK, to the point where kids don't even go out on their own now.
Yeah.
I mean, and if I may ask, in what way would you stop me from going out on my own if I was, say, a 10-year-old boy in this day and age, Sap?
If what? Sorry, I missed your question.
What reason would you stop me going out on my own if I was a 10-year-old boy?
It's not safe.
No.
Yeah,
not so.
exactly,
No.
because of what the government's allowed, violent crime and all that shit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I live not far from a town called Yate.
Yes,
Yeah.
you said before. You said
Yeah.
before, but be careful.
Where I am now, the little area we've got, there's it's quite nice here. We're lucky, but a lot of the people that live here, there's only a couple that everybody around here is sort of like 70s, 80s. We got a lady up the road. She's 94.
And she won't go out. I remember the story. She won't go out because of what happened.
Well, they tried to do a distraction burglary on her.
Yes, I remember that story, and she won't go out because of that. Yes, I remember you saying.
She won't go. No, she won't go out of the house now. But we're a bit worried, getting a bit worried, because they know that there's a lot of old age pensioners and people, older people around here, and it is a bit worrying. I never used to, but I lock the back gate when I go to bed at night now, and I got a nice 2.2 air rifle by the side of the bed.
But on a much more important noting, Sue Albert on here, her father also lied about his age to enlist in World War II.
Yeah.
Well done to your father, Sue. Well done for all that he did.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. Well, my dad must have been about 18. He was old enough to go into the Navy, because he joined up for the Second World War. Yeah, so no, I don't know anybody that would. I think, was it my wife's youngest brother? He got his dad to sign the papers. He didn't know he'd signed them to join the Marines. When he come home from the pub drunk and got him to sign the papers, so he didn't know what he was signing. And Bob was gone, and then her younger sister, Myra was the youngest. She went in the army, but she was old enough when she was about 18, I think, when she went in.
Oh wow! Well done.
Then she met her husband. He was Scottish. He played. I think he was a Scotland's under-21 Scottish international player, and he went in the army. Yeah, because he done very well in the services because he was a very good footballer. He was out in Germany. Then he went to Saudi Arabia, and then we lost touch with them. Yeah. But yeah.
But just to let you two know, we've gone over to nearly 1 hour 30 minutes. But well done, you both of you have shared some fantastic points for VE Day, and the importance of why it should never be forgotten and never taken for granted. So thank you, two. But before we finish things off, Sap has got a little clip to play. Can we play it from beginning and not?
Yeah, I can play it from here. I can play it now.
Okay.
Do you want me to play it now?
Yes, please do.
There you go.
In fields of Flanders and beyond, where shadows of the brave stand long, they fought with valor, heart and soul, a sacrifice to make us whole. Through blood and tears, we'll not forget the echoes of the last sunset, with memories that always From trenches deep to deserts wide, across the seas where comrades died, they faced the fire, they bore the pain. For a world in peace, their hope remains. The trauma lingers, scars remain. A silent battle, endless strain. Yet through the night, we hear their call to honor those who gave their all. Through blood and tears, we'll not forget the echoes of the last sunset, with memories that haunt the mind. The price of freedom intertwined. So let us raise our voices high for those who soar beyond the sky. In gratitude and names we say, eternal heroes on angels' way. Smiles only hides the stress, the eyes show inside the mess. Thank a veteran for what you have today. We will remember them.
Thank you, Sapper, for showing this and the importance of VE Day 80. Lest we forget
nice.
well-shared Sea Gypsy and salute our veterans. But listen, you two, we've got to finish things off now because we've gone well over 1 hour 30. But thank you, Sapper and Blacksmith, for showing your take on VE Day. I mean, Blacksmith, thank you for showing your father's naval stories in commemoration for VE Day as to why it's so vitally important. And Sapper, for your military days and your late grandfather's courageous and courage when he fought in the front line in World War II and Home Guard for another one. Well done for sharing your story. So thank you very much, you two. Thank you. Couldn't have been more important. Sapper, is your mic off?
Not anymore.
Oh, yes. No, really, thank you both. Thank you very much for sharing your story, Sapper, your grandfather's stories, and of course, Blacksmith, your father's naval stories. This has come in utmost forthright importance for VE Day at 80.
Yeah,
And VE Day at
very much
80,
indeed.
one message I need to put out before I let you two go. VE Day at 80, VE Day 1945 did not fully end World War II. It did not mark the end of World War II. It marked the end of fighting in Europe because, to share this very important story, which is very often underrepresented, we still had war going on in other countries, Japan in particular, because we had the bombing, the atomic bombings in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, August 1945, which devastated and killed bloody countless lives, the atomic bombs in Japan. But then we had the VJ Day, because World War II did not officially end on the 8th of May. It officially ended 2nd of September of 1939 6 years, 1 day, 1st of September 1939 to 2nd of September 1945. And VE Day at 80, it did not mark the end of World War II for VE Day. It was only after September of 1945 was when it ended. So VE Day, lest we forget, and we must always pay tribute and our respects to our last surviving World War II veterans, because we won't have them for much longer. So this comes at vital importance this day. Never a day to be taken for granted. And all children out there, I would advise all children to follow Prince George's example of shaking their hands and thanking World War II veterans for their service. But you two, thank you so much for your time. Thank you. And thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service, Sapper. And thank you for your father's naval service, Blacksmith.
Thank you for inviting me, Foxy. Thank you.
Pleasure. Got to let you two go now because it's quite late now. Thank you, you two.
Yeah, I got somebody here that'll be wanting his supper in a minute. When he wakes
Yes,
up.
I need to let you get on with it. I need to let you get on with it, Blacksmith, yes, with Basil, the little monster.
Foxy, you can put your hand down now. You can put your hand down now.
Yeah. But it's only respect to veterans saluting.
I know, my friend. I know.
Yes. But thank you very much, you two. Thank you very much.
No problem.
I need to let you go now, won't you?
All the best, guys, and we will catch up very soon.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
Definitely on Saturday. Well, what the hell is that song?
Yes.
Yes, go to Sapper for Saturday.
And I've got some good songs, some really good songs.
My friend she missed last week. She'd gone out last Saturday, so hopefully Tracy B will be joining us again on that. She really enjoyed that Saturday evening.
Yes, what the hell is this song? 8 p.m. on Saturday. I'm going to be there for the party.
Yep.
We're all going to be there.
Yep.
Thank you, you two. Thank you very much.
Take care, mate. Bye-bye.
Okie dokie.
Bye-bye for now, Sapper.
Right, what do we do? What do we do?
There. Okay, well, I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time and watching this live stream, and to all veterans, particularly our surviving World War II veterans, with very, very few left around the world. We must respect our World War II veterans for all that they did when they served during World War II. Because war does not come without a price to pay, price for PTSD, and of course the cost of lives. And of course, the economic cost of war is nothing but extortionate, if there's any way to describe it. Or any crisis, from pandemics to flu to riots, the cost is great when you look at it in full depth. And the price of World War II was hefty. And our respects to World War II veterans and all who have served in the armed forces. You know, VE Day 80, seriously not a day to be taken for granted. And certainly VE Day 85, VE Day 90. It's my concluded belief that VE Day 85 will be probably the last time we'll get to see World War II veterans take part in this event. You know, so VE Day at 80, not a day to be taken for granted. Not one little bit should it be taken for granted. Thank you to all in the military and World War II veterans for your service, for sacrificing your life on the front line, for fighting hard for our much appreciated freedoms we have for today, which we never take for granted. Thank you to all our World War II veterans and all in the army for all that you do when you serve in the armed forces, for protecting our freedoms that we so do not take for granted and appreciate today. We owe our freedom to all the brave men who served during the war, plus too many lost their lives. Very well shared, Wanda, but we're finishing now. Lest we forget. Thank you, veterans, for all that you did when you served. And thank you all for watching, everybody. I shall be seeing all of you at 10:30 p.m. UK time for about 45-minute live stream on Saturday. We can't do long because I've got an event to attend to on Sunday of the 11th of May 2025. We're only going to do about 40 odd minutes for the Saturday live stream at 10:30 p.m. UK time. Thank you sincerely, kindly for watching, lest we forget, and thank you for all to the veterans for all they did when they served in the armed forces. Goodbye for now, lest we forget. VE Day 80, another time to all.
Thanks for coming, everyone. from your friend Foxy. Please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe on the way out.